Mercenary Enrollment, Teenage Mercenary. Genre: action, drama, school life, shonen. Should you read Mercenary Enrollment? Mercenary Enrollment. A lot of people have told me about this series. Out of the very long list of webcomics that I've read in my lifetime, there are very few that are as satisfying as Teenage Mercenary, alternatively also called Mercenary Enrollment. What makes Teenage Mercenary such satisfying? It is obviously on Webtoon, so that's what I'm going with, even though Webtoon has it as a Teenage Mercenary, but then other peoples on other websites call it Mercenary Enrollment. Which title is it really? Or could you use both? I don't know. Story of Teenage Mercenary. The story of Mercenary Enrollment is set in modern-day Korea. Our protagonist Yoo-jin is the sole survivor of a plane crash that happened 10 years prior to the start of the manhwa. The foreign land is like a child who has no one to depend on. Yoo-jin works hard to survive and, over time, becomes an elite hired contractor in a war-torn foreign country. He was in a harsh environment and there was no mercy. However, the survivor of the plague is saved by the love of Korean Special Forces. He fights alongside them and then gets to go back to his homeland country. Yoo-jin is a story about his struggle to adjust to his new life as a high school student. This lifestyle is very different from his former life as a mercenary. He has reunited with his remaining surviving family members, her younger sister named Diane, who is single-handedly raised by his grandfather after their parents died in that fateful plane crash. As he slowly picks up the pieces of the peaceful life he had been missing for the past 10 years. He discovers that his sister was suffering from serious harassment and bullying in the school where they were both enrolled in. Yoo-jin must use his skills as a mercenary in order to protect his family. As the story progresses, Yoo-jin discovers that no one can truly escape the past. What do I think about the story of Teenage Mercenary? The story's premise may at first seem to be mixed. However, it eventually catches up to you. It's amazing how smoothly plot points and the challenges of our main character are integrated into the storyline. This keeps the reader at the right age for what will happen. There are 125 chapters in the book Mercenary Enrollment. The book follows the story of bullies and criminals getting what they deserve every single time in Teenage Mercenary. Basically, no one is ever safe from Yoo-jin, our protagonist, who is deadly in all forms of combat. He's ruthless to every enemy he encounters, and it's so satisfying to watch him just dismantle his opponents. I don't think he even gets hit once to my knowledge, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. It's crazy. Strong character development. There's a really strong character development centered around family. There are lots of heartfelt moments and lots of wholesome moments that give the story a really big boost. In terms of its well-roundedness, a lot of action-oriented manuals have the tendency to sort of lean towards, I guess, just action, and they don't really touch upon plot development and character development as much. Sometimes it's all about just straight fire action in every single chapter. But man, sometimes the wholesome moments between the grandpa, the sister, and Yoo-jin, and even Yoo-jin and his friends, like everything is so well done. That's what makes this webtoon partly really satisfying. The art style. The art style is very well done. The action scenes have really nice color schemes, really a unique red-blue color scheme that comes in during fights. I would say the facial expressions also are well drawn. Some of the expressions are really funny, and artist is also just really talented. I would say lots of times when I'm reading a webcomic I get frustrated with the story because the main character sometimes does something that's really dumb or he's weak in certain situations. But the guys, this never happens with this main character. Other characters in Teenage Mercenary. I also like just how the characters in this webcomic just all intermingle with one another. You guys will see it if you read it for yourselves. The side characters really start coming together as the story goes on, and I'm really excited to see where this webtoon is going to go. The main character is probably easily top 10 most badass main characters I think that I've ever read, at least. Basically, he does everything exactly the way the reader would want him to probably. There's really never a moment where you're like, oh, I wish the main character was better at this or whatever, he's just perfect. He's so satisfying, his backstory is also so sick. And yes, this is one of that manhwa where the main character is overpowered. While one could see that aspect is a cliché, Egypt being super overpowered, while it may be a cliché. He's still so cold and his personality is still relatively unique, that you don't even care, like no one really cares that the main character is super overpowered. A lot of people like to complain sometimes when the main character is too overpowered, but like I said, you won't care. Final thoughts on Teenage Mercenary. Teenage Mercenary, guys, I don't want to give too much away, but if you just want to read a webcomic and feel really satisfied, and just get some pent-up anger out, maybe go ahead and read this comic on Webtoon. If you are looking for something more relaxing, this book is worth a look. There are some funny and light-hearted school moments in between the brutality of beating up bullies. The book is sure to keep readers entertained from beginning to end.